Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 398 of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm host always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I am fucking exhausted, Tyler.
Yeah, same.
I'll tell you what, man, it's like, you ever had that feeling and stuff to where you're going for so long and all of a sudden it's like after a hard day and stuff, you try to do like another task or something, like say try to play something and then stuff, and all of a sudden you just start nodding off asleep.
You just described my last 2 weeks, but yeah, go on.
Dude, that's been me for the past 3 days, because it's like, this is like an announcement for all my listeners. It's like, yeah, I have moved. I have officially moved out of the house that I was living in, renting for now almost almost 2 years and stuff, and now...
You now live in Des Moines, Iowa with me.
Oh my god.
Welcome to hell.
No. Well, I'm sure Iowa's a nice place.
Yeah, we don't have to say it. We don't have to be nice and formal on this podcast. It's fine.
No. My parents and I actually own another house. So we bought a house, and over the past few days, we have been moving. Now, Colonel Gables has been putting in a ton of work in terms of lifting, packing, and getting things in, and trying to get things. And yes, there's been a bunch of arguments between my parents and I in terms of what should do this and what should do that, and that's just the typical things in terms of moving. But yeah, I'm exhausted, but at the same time, I am definitely happy that I am inside of a living arrangement now to where I actually have my own bathroom. I am comfortable inside of this room that I'm in. Got to change some stuff like curtains, shower head stuff, just the norm type of things when you buy a house. Like, you got to go through and you got to replace certain aspects or even things that you weren't even aware about. I'll give one example before I move on, though, where it's like, we have the cable lady come by on last Friday. She was going through, she told us that she had been in this exact same house a year ago when the lady used to live here before she unfortunately passed on. And she was saying how, in terms of, say, the internet and the cable stuff, that the previous owners actually blocked a lot of that stuff off, right? And so it took her 3 to 4 hours to get everything else jerry-rigged in terms of having us have cable and internet stuff. Because there's only one area of that house that actually could support, say, a phone or internet line. And I look at her, she looks at me, I'm like, and she asked me, it's like, hey, do you want the internet and the whole things like that in your room? I'm like, yes, please. So what's awesome is yes, I have the modem, I have the router, I have all pretty much the internet stuff, because honestly, I'll be perfectly blunt. As long as I have a good source of internet stuff to where I can connect online, I can watch YouTube, I can play games, and I'm happy with that. I do not want to do like I did around 10 years ago, where I had to connect an Ethernet, like a Ethernet cable, from the back of my 360 all the way across the hallway into the fucking router just to play online. Comfortably. And yes, that's something that I did when I used to play Halo 3 online. But, other than that, the whole song and dance, it's been interesting. Yes, it has been interesting, but it's definitely been fun. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
Doing all right, like I say, still a little tired from last few weeks. You know, it's just been long work days. You know, then 2 jobs, all that fun jazz. So definitely been in the, you know, you come home from work and it's just like, I don't even like. I'll try to boot it up. Try to play some Sackboy, some Gears Tactics, just, you know, games I want to get back to. And I'm just like, I don't got it in me right now.
Oh, shit, man.
And I'm also just like, I don't like. I'm looking at like, I was looking at how much there's left in Gears Tactics. I'm just like, I like this game a lot. I still like, you know, my big complaint about Hyrule Warriors was like the Age of Calamity last week was like, it's a really good game. It just drags on way too long. And I'm just looking at that like, I'm really liking this game, Gears Tactics, but I'm like, I'm only like a third of the way through this, and I'm like 10 hours or more in. I'm just like, I'm not liking it that much. Putting another 20 hours into it, and on top of that, they have side missions you do, and they're like, you have to do like side missions to go on. Like, you get back to the main hub where you can, you know, update your characters and all that fun jazz. And then it's like, all right, mission select, and you just, you know, Act 2, Chapter 2. All right, cool. Click that one. That's the only option. You have Act 2, Chapter 2. You just go to the next one, and then you get back, and it's like, all right, there's 3 side missions. You got to do one of them. It's like, oh, okay.
Dude, that's sort of the same issue that I've had, like, say, playing game, like The Last of Us Part 2, to where that first section of that game, I mean, it takes such a long time for the thing to actually open up. And once you actually are inside that big first section of Seattle and you try to explore a bit, and that's exactly what I did. You know, it's like I explored every bit of like the of day 1 inside of Seattle, did everything that I felt like I could do in that retrospect and stuff, and I spent a good portion of that, but then having to go through a lot of the dialogue, the cutscenes, even though they're articulately well, and, you know, like the voice actors, given what they have to work with like the dialogue and stuff, they did a good job in terms of that. Man, I there have been times I try to power on that game, try to play a little bit of like, oh man, it's like I am too tired to play this. I mean, yeah. You have a hard day and all of a sudden it's like, well, I do not feel like I want to play something that's going to drag me down.
Yeah. Well, it's like in this game, like, you know, I've probably done a dozen or more missions, and it's like there's only so many different types of missions so far. Right. I've seen like the one, like they're cool, but it's like I'm seeing this. Like, there's only so many times I can defend this circle, or get these prisoners, like, you know, free these prisoners. And it's like the I don't know. It's just like that was like the one thing her complaint I was hearing about in reviews was like it's a really good game. It just there's only so many different types of missions, and I love, you know, like, I like those kind of games. I'm just like, I don't want to keep playing this. So,
dude,
yeah. So that, you know, it's, you know, like I said, on top of that, just tired. It's like I'm just really killing time till Cyberpunk gets here. That's all I'm doing. So it's like,
I know, right? I'm so excited. I want to play that game.
Yeah, it's like that, and that's the reason why I haven't even started Valhalla, because it's like I don't know if I'll get into that game, and maybe I put 30, 40 hours into it and I like it a lot. Maybe I put 10 and I'm like, I don't really care for it. But it's like, I'm not, if I start the game beginning of the week, after I beat Age of Calamity, I'm like, that gives me a week and a half to play that game before Cyberpunk, and I'm like, I'm not giving that game a fair shot, and it's just gonna, like, I'm not gonna come, like, I'll go back to it eventually, but I'm like, I'm not gonna, like, it's not gonna click for me. I already know it's not, so it's like I'm just gonna hold off and just wait till Cyberpunk gets here. So, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's been a little tired. You know, I spend majority of my week driving in a van or a truck. So, my second job is also me driving in my car all day. So, my main job though gives me, without really getting the details of what I do, because I'm not legally allowed to talk about the company I work for. I mean, I'm not allowed to, like, say I work for this company. I can't do that or give out details. But it does allow me to the great adventure and times, and I'm being as sarcastically as I possibly can be right now, of spending large quantities of my week in small town Iowa, and a lot of small towns in Iowa, and there are some weird ass people out there, Gables. I don't know if you knew that.
You're telling me, man. just living on this house, the street, I'm already seeing a bunch of like weird people, including like one old man that I like to refer to as Old Man Jenkins, because as soon as we moved into this house, I see this old dude popping his head like outside his kitchen window, just watching, staring at us. This like walking to and from. Like, what the fuck?
You know what, Gables? I respect that though. I respect that.
Yeah.
But it's just some of these towns I go into. There's there's a couple like towns you go to, and they're like it's actually like they're really cool. They're very pretty, and I like them because it's like it really is like when you watch like on TV. Like I'm from Des Moines. It's it's the biggest city in Iowa, and going to like some of these small towns, it's like there's a main street with like everything's on it. It's like and then there's all these houses around it, and there's some some farms or around it too, and it's like it's really cool and really pretty, and I like it a lot. Like it's very I like kind of like the the way it looks and feels. It very much feels like small town. Like we always hear about small town America, it's like wow, it's kind of cool like driving around this main street and whatever, going place to place. And then you go to some of these towns nearby where there's not a store in the town. It's just like just a bunch of random houses and shit 20 miles away. And I'm like, so anyways, I went to this house. I had my mask on because the customer was standing at the door waiting for me. It looked like straight out of Duck Dynasty. And but he just lived in like a little tiny shack kind of thing. But I'm not trying to be mean, but just building a picture here for you. I'm Bob Ross, trying to do this on a podcast, explaining, there's a little tree over here, there's a broken down truck or two in the front yard, and may or may not be more than 10 cats. And I get there and I do the business I have to do with the customer, not sexual. And
make that so clear right in front of the center.
Yeah, as soon as I said do the business I had to do with the customer, I want to make everybody know it's not sexual. May or may not be sexual. And he's like, I have my mask on, and he's like, you don't have to worry about that mask. I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, neon lights will kill that. I'm like, what? He's like, I'm like, what, sir? And he's like, cause I want to make sure I understand him. He's like, yeah, neon lights, they'll kill that virus. I'm like, okay. I'm just going to walk away. He's like, don't listen to the propaganda. It's all a lie. I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, I cannot get back to my truck fast enough. I got to get out of here. Part of me was also like, I want to know more of what you have to say. But I'm like, I need to go.
That's pretty interesting to hear that.
So that was interesting. That was a highlight and low light all at the same time there. Gables, neon lights. I'll kill the virus. Yeah, so that was pretty funny. Yeah, so some characters out there, definitely. But yeah, so that's I mostly this week just been watching a lot of TV. It was funny. I was talking to Justin last week, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we finished Blind Manor." Like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm pretty much caught up on The Mandalorian." I'm like, "Fuck, man! I watched like the first 2 episodes of Blind Manor, a show I really really liked. Just didn't, I got trailed off on something else." I'm like halfway through season 1 of Mandalorian. I'm a season and a half into The Boys on the Amazon, which is a fantastic show. Mm-hmm. And then like I'm midway through the last season of Supernatural, like a show I've been watching for over a decade. Like I need to like start tackling some of these shows and play, I was playing games and not really vibing with me right now. So finish up The Boys. Really love that. I had like 4 episodes left of the season and knocked those out and like basically like sitting in a half. A fantastic show. And then I finished season 1 of Mandalorian. I think I'm like 2 episodes in the season 2 now. So I'm really enjoying that. So I'm going to try to get caught up on that show before Cyberpunk and all that good jazz comes out. But then watching shit on football. It's my day off. So sucks. It's like, it's my only day off. I look forward to all week, but it's like I got to do all the shit I didn't do throughout the week because I just don't have the energy or time. So it's like basically just get up early on my day off and try and knock everything out as early as possible, and then get the afternoon to myself. So just sit down in my PJs and watch football. So that's pretty much what I've been doing this week. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we've already come to tell what we've been playing. I do one real fast. I did the actual update for the new PS5 Xbox Series X update came out for Madden. So played a couple games of that. It came out Friday, Friday. No, what's Friday? Thursday. Came out Thursday. Sorry, I was looking at my calendar. So I played a couple games of that. Definitely feels and works a lot nicer. That's just the way it's more Madden. It's more like nitty gritty stuff like that. Like that's the little tiny things that make the big difference for people like me that put hundreds of hours in this game every year. But some of the big things they added was like definitely like I thought the adaptive triggers and stuff like that worked really well already. Like you can definitely like notice, and like now like you every time when you're running like and you're sprinting, like you whenever your player is like moving, like his left foot hits, your left side of your controller vibrates, his right foot hits the ground, the right side vibrates a little bit, and then when you hit it, you can actually feel like when you lower your shoulder and like as a running back and you try to truck somebody, like the R1 R2, if you lower your shoulder with the right shoulder, R1 R2 vibrate, kind of things like that. It's kind of cool. And then it definitely looks a lot nicer, runs a little better. Like I said, the adapter, and like I think the big thing right now is just kind of like everything loads and moves a lot better. And then on top of that, I mean, like it looks a lot better, but it's not like a drastic update. But I mean, it's just that's how it was. Like it's always how it is with the new version for like the new console that comes out there. It's not like a full upgrade. I imagine in a couple of years we'll see the big difference. But one of the next things were like is that they use like the next gen stats. You always see like when you actually watch football, where it's like they'll like focus on like they'll show a replay and like they'll break it down for you in slow motion, like live on like when you watch NFL on TV, and it's just like they'll show you like this is how long the quarterback had the ball for before he threw it, like time to throw, and then this is how far the ball actually traveled in the air, or how fast your running back or receiver was running when he scored it on a big play. And so it's like whenever there's a big play, so like it was pretty cool. Like I had like a big play with Aaron Rodgers and threw a long touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. I was playing a game this morning. Just kind of like the game today with the Eagles. It's just a lot of Aaron Rodgers throwing touchdown passes to Devontae Adams. Anyways, like it was cool. Like because I usually just skip the replays. I don't really care for them. But it's like I've actually been watching all the replays in the couple games I played, where it's like it's cool. Like it shows like it breaks it down so slow motion. It's like time to throw, and it's like you listen in the pocket. And it shows you how long, like 3.3 seconds from the time the ball was snapped to the time you threw it. And then it shows like the ball traveled 57.2 yards in the air, and then he had 32.2 yards after the catch, and his top speed was like 21.2 miles an hour. And they break it down with the commentary. It's like, I mean, it's like little tiny things like that, but it's like for people that watch football and also play a lot of Madden, it's kind of like a cool thing that they do, and I really do it. Like I think, and then like it's more like I said, it's little things like the players on the sidelines don't all look the same. Like they all look like they have weird body shapes, and they all look like fucking 6'2" 2-liter bottles almost on the sideline. For years, that's the way it's been, and the crowd always looks like a fucking WWF SmackDown from PlayStation 1. Like everybody just looks like stick figures kind of shit, and it's just like they all look the same. It's all it's got. I mean, like it's stuff you don't notice too much when you're playing, but like when moments when they do a replay or they show sideline stuff, like it stands out. It's like that looks really bad. So they like it's not perfect, but they've little up like it's improvements of life kind of stuff that they did that I like. I don't know. It's not it's more Madden, but I like it. Little things like that. It's cool. But what you play anything this week, Gables?
Well, let's see. I have been playing a bit more of Destiny 2. I haven't really been playing games over the past 3 games for obvious reasons, but no, what I decided to do is I wanted to try to get a little bit more worth out of my investment inside of Beyond Light's expansion, and I played through that expansion again with my Hunter and my Warlock character, which, yeah, you know what? It's definitely fun in terms of going through a bunch of the story missions in this expansion, plus in regards to getting a lot of good loot, this and that. I did enjoy my time playing Beyond Light, and I'll tell you what, a lot of the fun just comes from trying to get a lot of the various armor pieces of armor drops and stuff, unlocking certain things for the whole season element of the pass that I have, and that's just a thing, man. It's like I paid for Beyond Light. I actually got that season pass thing that is like seasons 12 through 15 or something, and so I do have a bunch of stuff that I have unlocked. But what I've noticed was when I went to go work on my Warlock character, I actually got almost the same amount of light level as my Titan in like one day, because a bunch of the stuff that I unlocked through the season pass, a bunch of the armor stuff, it actually can count per each character that you have. So you can only make you can only make like around 3 characters, right? So it's like you can have a Titan, a Warlock, and like a Hunter. And so I went through with my Titan, went through with my Hunter and stuff, all the main missions. And then with my Warlock, I did the same thing. Only difference is I almost got close to around like, I almost got close to like freaking 12:30 or something like that within a day, like I was saying. And that was because there were certain pieces of armor that you can actually collect, unlock, and this and that. On top of the missions, the expansion, which gives up a ton of experience points. And I was literally gaining all sorts of various powerful like armor and like gear, like weapons and stuff. Because the way you can actually upgrade the light is like if you have like stronger pieces of armor. Because it'll add up when you have like say stronger pieces of say like weapons, but more or less you want to collect certain pieces of armor. Which quite honestly, it doesn't really matter too much in regards to what types of armor you do have. There's like, it's basically you go through and you have these specific types of armor for each class, right? And they have like a random dice roll of like certain stat increments where, okay, this one has maybe high resilience or high intelligence, well, not so much mobility or not so much like dexterity or something. Well, you get the exact same piece of armor and it's maybe like one light level above and it's almost the exact opposite in that regards. So obviously it's still a little bit of like a frustrating thing to where if you are basically held to if you want to even have a remotely decent type of stat balance, or you say you want to go in a specific type of attribute to try to make your character a little bit more mobile or a little bit more resilient and have like good recovery or something, you have to rely upon certain mods that you acquire through either completing missions or buying through like vendors and stuff on the tower. And I've done that a couple times to where I've equipped certain mods to pieces of my armor. Like say if I want to add like a plus, like say I can add like +5 to recovery or +10 to like resilience or something like that. It will definitely improve my character, but when you add it on to where every like piece of armor that you have, it pretty much depends like what type of a build that you want to go with in this regards. But honestly, it's kind of hard for me to try to get it to a specific thing because there are just a little bit of minute things that have kind of gotten in my way. Like for example, if I want a piece of armor and I want to say like increase a bit of say like the recovery of a specific thing, it'll only do maybe like around maybe a +10 or this or that, you know. So it's minute, and because the whole attribute stuff go from like say from 0 to 100, you have to constantly try to manage like specific stats. So if say you go into like a PvP match, right? Like say if you go and you play a couple games in the Crucible and you use your favorite weapons and like some bit of like armors you have set up, and sometimes you'll get completely destroyed because your armor's not set to a specific way that it will resist certain gunfire from some of the most popular like weapon loadouts that they have on that thing. And so you have to go through and reorganize and like rethink a bunch of different mods and this and that. I mean, in a way, I can understand that it more or less relies upon a higher a thought process in terms of trying to arrange a specific setup that not only works for you but also is very beneficial in terms of how you play against like other players. But at the same time, it's incredibly cumbersome because it's like if you don't have that right mod or you don't have that right exotic weapon where you can go through and improve, like if you don't have enough resources in order to improve like say a piece of exotic armor, if you want to maximize that, you need so much specific types of resources. Like say you want for enhancement prisms or like this and that. Well, you got to get like this type of resource and that type of resource, and it could take a lot of time for you just to upgrade like one different type of exotic weapon. And that's just Destiny 2 in and of itself, the gripes I have with the game overall. But with the Beyond Light expansion, like I said before, I've enjoyed my time with it. I definitely have had some fun. I've just definitely had some fun just playing through the story modes and learning about a lot of things of the Fallen. But I tell you what, one of the biggest enjoyments I've had is actually exploring a lot of the glitched places. I think, like I was saying last time, it's like I have explored different glitches, say on the EDZ, and the last time I really played Destiny 2 last week was the last portion, just like on Q, when my friend and I found that whole glitch exploit in the EDZ. I found the same thing inside of the tower, and there's this one little convenience shop, right, where you can go inside, you can jump on a rack, it'll allow you to climb up this portion, and all of a sudden you're in the geometry of the vendor building. And so the fun begins where you actually go forth and discover, okay, which one are standable like platforms that you can jump onto or get to. And so it ends up becoming a fun little excursion of, okay, what's hidden inside here? Or hey, maybe I can find some assets, or maybe I can find like a way out of the map doing this and that. And honestly, that's exactly what my friend and I did for like the second time in the past month, where we spent a couple hours. We were up until like 2 a.m. one night, just going into and out of like specific portions of the tower. I ended up discovering through sheer coincidence, there's this hangar that you can load into when you have to go to the Drifter in order to get like certain Gambit weekly quests, right? Well, there is a hangar. There are like two different types of like hangars that you normally can't reach. They're on opposite sides of where you spawn in. So I go into one, and there's like a barrier blocking it off. And so out of curiosity, I go to the opposite side, and I can go in there. I can actually go into the far end of this tunnel and navigate around the different poles and stuff. And I end up discovering that there's this little hole. There's this little hole that you can drop down to, and it gets you into like this almost like this vehicle area, to where there's these little like drone machines or something like that are inside of this, like almost secluded. Like there was supposed to be some form of like vendor or some sort of like checkpoint or something like that. And it absolutely fascinated me. And what's kind of funny is I uploaded the picture to Instagram, and I had like one of these Destiny guys like that does like a whole bunch of different photos and this and that and stuff. He ended up like liking my post, and then, we didn't really talk too much back and forth, but I see a lot of the content stuff. But what's also pretty funny, speaking of Destiny 2 content stuff, is like my friend told me a couple days ago that he used the clip that he had of myself and plus our other friend spawning in at the same time, like in terms of trying to get to another area, and both of us in this clip, because we had went through the spawning point at the same time, when we popped out, both of us went the opposite direction of each other, flew across the damn map, and died. So if you can imagine that, my friend is just standing there, waiting for us to go, try to complete the strike, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's wait for them to pop up. And it's normally one at a time, but all of a sudden both of us did it at the same time, and we both just go flying opposite and just die. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Oh my gosh. What I'm saying is Bungie, fix your game. But anyway. Oh man. Yeah, that's it for me in terms of gaming, man. I'm waiting for Cyberpunk. I may try to play something else in the meantime. I'll probably check in a little bit for Destiny 2, but yeah, it's now getting to the point where I want to play something new.
Yep. Well, luckily, I think there might be a big game coming out on this Thursday for us all to play. Hopefully, yeah. So I'm looking at our news, but yeah, Cyberpunk, just a few days away. Video Game Awards. Just a few days away. And speaking of the Video Game Awards, I thought this would be a little fun thing we can discuss here. That's on Thursday night. It's like for you, it's like 3:15, I think.
Okay.
I think starts 3:15 Thursday. So I think it's like 5:15 my time. And it's like 4 hours. So prepare for that. But anyways, so that's on Thursday. You know, we went over a couple weeks ago what we thought was going to win each award, and I thought it'd be kind of fun. We didn't really talk about what we thought would be at the Game Awards. So we already know a couple things. Like one thing we'll get into here a little bit later is the Persona 5 Strikers that was supposed to be at the Game Awards revealed, but that got leaked early. Like Dragon Age 4, we're going to get something for that. But and then like Eddie Vedder's going to be there. So, but we don't really. I mean, there was always some fun surprises there. Sometimes I won't be surprised if we have some. I thought we'd have a couple leaks other than I guess the Persona 5 Strikers one. I thought we or some like good rumors out there going into it out there, but hasn't really been any this time around, or at least not yet. Maybe as we get closer, some more stuff. But I mean, they've always been good about like Mortal Kombat was 11 was announced 2 years ago, and that came out of nowhere. Xbox Series X was shown off for the first time last year, along with Hellblade 2. We had no idea about any of that. Like none of that stuff was leaked or even rumored going into it. But I thought kind of fun. Maybe we go over some of the things we think we might. There are possible, like no pie in the sky kind of stuff, but stuff that's like kind of out there, or like some rumors we've had in the past about we're just waiting on it or whatever. I mean, I think we can go like I figured one by one with the big three.
Okay.
So I figured like Nintendo, like so they always have at least one thing there. Sometimes they have two, but most years it's because pretty much most years everybody, especially Xbox and Nintendo, they're always pretty big about having something there. Sony for the most part, but usually Xbox and Nintendo always good for something good. If you had to put your money, so assuming Nintendo has something to show us, what do you think is the most likely thing that they show us there?
Okay. Since The Legend of Zelda has been the huge limelight, I get the feeling that we're going to be seeing more of the next Legend of Zelda game, and that it's going to introduce the new gimmick of what this game is going to be.
Okay.
That's the safe bet, I feel. Because we already got the Age of Calamity, and if this sequel to Breath of the Wild is going to be coming out next year, then they got to showcase something in that regards. So I feel like the best bet for, say, Nintendo, we're going to be seeing a trailer for the sequel of the Breath of the Wild, a game that we have not seen too much of since its revealed trailer. So that's my bet right there.
Okay, I was thinking about that too, but I'm almost wondering that maybe it would, because like Age of Calamity is selling super duper well. Would it be good or bad to show off Breath of the Wild 2 just a couple weeks after? Like maybe that will kind of. I mean, it could bring.
That would actually be like a good benefit in that regards. Cause,
yeah, I mean, unless they give a release date, maybe that like if they give a release date, that might hurt Age of Calamity. But if they maybe they give us a release like 2021, something like that, I can see that. Like, but I mean, yeah, like maybe like something like because like Breath of the Wild 1 was shown off there years ago at the Game Awards. I think though, I was thinking I was like, oh man, Bayonetta 3, that makes sense. Because that was Bayonetta 3 was announced at Game Awards. Was at 2017, along with the Bayonetta 1 and 2 collection, which got me thinking, what about the Metroid Prime Trilogy collection? That has been rumored to have been ending from everything that's out there. This game has been done forever, and it's just waiting on the release it. It's kind of like the whole Pikmin 3 thing. That game has been done for months, like nearly a year before they finally put it out. And it's just been sitting there waiting on a hard drive to be put out before Pikmin 3 Deluxe finally got put out. And maybe I don't think I'm not saying we're gonna Metroid Prime 4 thing, but that wouldn't shock me. I think my bet is that we finally get the Metroid Prime trilogy announcement, and maybe we get a teaser for a Metroid Prime 4 thing. I don't know, because maybe like. I'm wondering, because obviously things are different now, and like the way they do directs is different now. But it's like Nintendo always likes to do something at the beginning, like sometime in January or February. So I don't know if maybe that obviously it's been a weird the last 15 months or so has been weird for them. But
But
when it comes to that stuff. But
But
go
here's
ahead.
something that I'm not sure if we haven't thought of yet in that regards. In terms of Nintendo, perhaps they're going to use that as an opportunity to advertise for another Switch iteration.
Oh, I
Now,
can see that. I don't see that because of the PS5 and Xbox Series X.
well, here's the reason why I feel this way. There has been a lot of news going around the past couple of weeks in terms of like a blurb that happened inside of Europe where a customer, like a guy, went through and messaged like Nintendo of Europe in regards to, hey, why isn't there too many like docks or something like that available in the country? And the official Nintendo of Europe support team actually told them outright that they have discontinued the dock in regards to the Switch in that region. Now, I know for a fact that North America and also like other places around the world, they've had the Switch in regards to say like the dock availability. And Europe has been that caveat, so obviously it's going to be like that. It's going to be one of those things in regards to taking it with a grain of salt. But I kind of feel like Nintendo could go through and maybe talk a little bit more about their next, their next Switch system in that regards. Because let's look at it this way. I mean, we had a Switch come out in 2016.
2017.
Well, actually, 2017. Haha, my bad. So for 2017, we got the Switch. We got the iteration here of the Switch Lite. But there have been rumors and talks about Nintendo, predominantly, perhaps working with, Sharp Images. Like Sharp, the electronics, the TV developer in that regards, the electronics retailer. Not retailer, but electronics maker. That's what I'm trying to say. In terms of developing a cheaper say LED sort of screen and stuff potentially. There has been rumors of potentially this new iteration of the Switch will have a distinct type of screen to where it may be a little bit more crisp in terms of doing that instead of say an OLED screen, to where those ones over time the color of the screen just goes through and diminishes. There has been rumors upon that, and there's also Wall Street Journal, say as you will, in regards to say some of the news that they have provided in the past in regards to games, say what may come out, what may not come out and stuff. But there is heavy emphasis to where Nintendo could go through and may go through say with another iteration of the Switch. But I kind of feel like in terms of propelling, to try to counteract, say, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which, yeah, it's starting to go through, and the original Switch is starting to become a little bit lower in terms of sales in regards to both these other systems, even though the PS5 and the Xbox Series X have had their, blurbs in that regards, but...
Well, you look at the NPD list every month. They talk about how Switch is breaking records for
right. You're correct.
money earned. So I don't think they would announce it here because we're going into Christmas, and I mean these things are selling great all year, and it's it's going to sell even better right now. So I feel like if they were to announce it now, that would only hurt them selling more. They want to sell as many Switches as possible. I would love to hear about it. I don't think we're going to hear about it till beginning of next year at the earliest. I feel like that's
too. Yeah.
I think that's most. I don't think we're going to hit anything that big this year, especially with the way Nintendo's been doing. I don't know, but I don't see it just because I think it's if they announce a new Switch model coming next year, right now it's just gonna hurt them for the next. They're with 3 weeks left or 2 weeks left till Christmas. That's only gonna hurt them.
That would be a big surprise. Honestly,
that would be a big surprise. They would win the day with gamers, the people that already have those consoles. But when the news came out for people going out buying Christmas gifts for their kids or for loved ones or whatever, it's I just fucking bought them this one that's already obsolete, or or I was gonna go buy this for my kid, but I'm I'll just wait and buy one next year, or buy when that comes out. So
that's a good point.
But yeah, so moving on to the PlayStation.
Okay.
What do you think we'll see from PlayStation?
I feel all right, I'm just going to be blunt and put this out there. I feel that we will see the reveal of the Metal Gear Solid remaster by Blue Point Games.
I don't see that. I mean, I don't think they're. I mean, they just put out Demon Souls. I think that's too pie in the sky. Nothing would make me happier than a Metal Gear Solid the remake. Yeah, I don't see that. But I don't know. I have a couple. I feel like the Uncharted movie trailer or a teaser for the movie trailer or whatever for the movie is a shoo-in because Tom Holland's is gonna be there, who's playing Nathan Drake in the movie.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's shoo-in. You know, that's not PlayStation, but that's Sony. But I think, you know, I mean, it's hard to say because maybe they surprise us with something instead. I feel like it's very, very likely that we could get a release date for Ratchet.
That I could see. You know what I could also see is more footage for, say, like Horizon Forbidden West.
I mean, honestly, like I was thinking about like, oh, like, you know, I was trying to like, you know, like if we can get something more for God of War 2 or Horizon or the Metal Gear remake, like those three things I'd want way more than Ratchet release date because I know, like, I mean, I'm looking forward to Ratchet. I'm wrong, but it's like I want to say, you know, we know Ratchet's soon. We know it's the first 3-4 months of next year, but it's like I do like when we've seen gameplay, we haven't seen anything from the other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. But I'm just trying to, because who knows? I mean, maybe they're going to change it up a little bit because of I mean, Xbox went big last year, revealing what their console looks like in the name, and then Hellblade 2. So I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just it's an arms race now of like who's going to do the biggest thing. And I don't know if you can top a console reveal, but I could see them, maybe this turns into like a dick measuring contest, like who has the biggest reveal this year between PlayStation and Xbox, and I mean that's plausible, but I'm just kind of trying to play it safe this year. And I feel like the Ratchet release date is most likely.
Right.
I mean, if it's not going to be a surprise kind of thing, I feel like that's which I mean that'd be awesome too. But I can see that. And then moving on here to Xbox, what do we think we're going to see from Xbox?
I'm going to go the opposite of you, and I'm going to go all out in this regards. I feel like that we're going to hear another acquisition that Microsoft has done, and I feel like that this acquisition is going to be one that gamers are going to readily know, and that it's going to completely catch people off guard in terms of the purchase. I feel like they're going to go all in and announce their partnership with Capcom.
Okay. Okay. I could see that maybe. I
know it's out there, but in that regard,
yeah.
and stuff,
I mean, the rumors are they're still out there trying to buy stuff, so I can see them announcing, and they love doing it on big stages. So
I understand, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility considering how much they just spent upon purchasing Bethesda, and they're still going through the aspects and still will be paying for the next, like, structure of things for like the next couple of years in that regards. But honestly, with the purchase of Bethesda, nothing really is out of their reach in terms of the third-party sort of like development stuff. And I kind of feel like Capcom is like one of those companies, as well as like Sega, to where it's going to be ripe as a target for either Sony or Microsoft to purchase. And the biggest impact I feel is going to be Capcom because of how hot they are right at this moment.
Okay. I think for Xbox, I think something we'll see is like it's either going to be something else from Hellblade 2, or it's going to be a reveal of one of their previous big acquisitions they've had in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Maybe we get Psychonauts 2, something like that. Like maybe more details in a game where it's out there, or it's a reveal from one of the studios they bought. That's because like Psychonauts 2 got delayed to 2021. I don't think we have a release date for Psychonauts 2. And that that literally just popped in my head as I was talking. So,
dude, what if they show more of Hellblade?
I mean, I would love that, and I'm all for that because who knows how far away. I mean, they just started development, allegedly. I guess it was early in development when they announced it last year. So, maybe they have some snippets. I don't know. I mean, possibly. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, that's always one of the most fun parts of the awards show. And this year's gonna be different too, with the fact it's gonna be takes place in like LA, London. I think it's London and Tokyo. Like they have stuff going on between the three of them. It's all obviously it's all in studio. It's not going to be in a arena kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm hopeful. I mean, is there so anything non of the big three that you think is plausible at this event?
Oh boy, that's going to be a tough one, considering that. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going to be a tough. This is obviously a tougher question for me. If I had to make a good guess, though, we may learn more about the DLC content maybe for Among Us. I'm going to throw that out there. Because,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
You know what? Among Us, for the most part, for the past couple of years, has been just a standalone game. There hasn't been any DLC content, and it wasn't until this year when it blew up because of the word of mouth and stuff, and plus YouTubers and stuff really taking this game as their own after the whole Fall Guys stuff kind of died down.
Yeah.
And it said on the game itself that the creator of it was trying to make some DLC, and I kind of feel like that because of how big this game has been, more or less like as a cultural thing, we're going to see some revealing maybe for the new DLC for Among Us.
That's a good one. I do like that one. Going back to one thing I had in mind for Nintendo originally was what I was going to go with was the next DLC character.
Oh, dude, that is an excellent idea. We haven't heard
that Joker was the first one announced, and that was 2018. So, that 2018? 2017.
It was 2017. Yeah, I think it was 2017.
That was
but,
Joker.
Our last DLC character was Min Min, I want to say.
No, it was Steve, Minecraft Steve.
Oh, yeah, Minecraft Steve.
And that was, I want to say, like September, maybe? So, I mean, maybe we're about due for, I mean, maybe not the coming out, but the reveal for the next one. So
that would make a lot of sense, considering that they like to pace out their DLC character releases in the span of a year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been 3 months. So, I mean, what Min Min was June. We had, before that, the Fire Emblem character was like February or March, I want to say. Then Min Min was June. And then, Minecraft Steve was like late August, early September, I want to say. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're possibly due for a reveal. And then maybe shortly after we get the release for it. But I can see it. I mean, maybe that'd be cool. The thing they do, like for the maybe they release it soon, and then it comes out, and it's a nice little push for Smash, right? Going into Christmas too. That last little late surge.
You want to hear something that's kind of funny? It's like, what if if Nintendo does go with a route of like revealing the next Smash character? What would be really hilarious is that if it's a villain character from one of the third party series and stuff like that, like say a Sephiroth or a Liquid Snake or
that'd be cool.
Oh my god, yeah, that would fucking freak people out if not only that, but say not even say like villain characters. Maybe if it's something like say a Doom guy or like a fucking oh god. Oh man, it was another Fire Emblem character people would just go through and just ride the streets.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. At this point, I really don't want it to be any more first party stuff. At this point, so I'd like keep it third party at this point. I think people like that more too. Anyways, yeah. I don't really have anything. I mean, I was thinking like maybe some Resident Evil 8 stuff is a possibility. Okay. I was thinking maybe Injustice 3, if they keep with the every other year release schedule they do every other like March, April, May-ish kind of area. They switch between Mortal Kombat and Injustice, but they just did the Aftermath DLC earlier this year, and they're still releasing new characters for Mortal Kombat 11. Like we just got Rambo last month, so maybe that throws a wrench in their plans for. And it seems like Mortal Kombat 11 is sticking more than 10 did. I don't know. I hope. Maybe it's more wishful thinking, and because I like the Injustice games way more than I like the Mortal Kombat games. But I don't know. I'm all game for. I'm looking forward to it. I'm game for pretty much whatever. It's always exciting for the gamers. See what's going on with that. But moving on to a thing that was supposed to be revealed at the Game Awards, but ended up getting leaked. I figured this is more of a topic for you, Gables, to take over on. But
Right.
Persona 5 Strikers was leaked. It's coming to PS4, PC, and Switch, and it's supposed to be released. It came out. The YouTube video came out on Friday. It wasn't supposed to come out until this coming Friday, so we got released a week early, and it's coming to the West. Is it Persona 5 Scramble Phantom Strikers is the official name, and it's coming on February 23rd. Is this the fighting one?
Actually, no. This isn't the. Okay, in terms of the fighting one, are you referring to like say a previous sort of game, like say?
Because they always do like a side game and it's like a fighting game.
Not always. In terms of the one you were referring to, I think it was like say Persona 4 like Arena and like Persona 4 like Ultimax or something like that. But this one is more or less kind of a style of like a action RPG more so than it is kind of like a turn-based one. This game has been selling really well in Japan in terms of not just because of the availability of it, but it's a sequel to Persona 5. So there is a different type of story, different types of like movesets. The gameplay looks interesting. I feel like that this is going to be definitely fun. I'm way more excited about this game being released stateside because I've known about this game for a while. But all that was left to see is like if they were like when they would go through and announce it. And it was kind of funny that not even 5 minutes after they accidentally leaked the game trailer online, they took it down for a little bit and then just put it back up because they thought at this point, like, oh god, well, this is supposed to be for the Game Awards, but
yeah. Now it's saying everything's gonna be revealed on December 8th, so Tuesday, and also it blends Dynasty Warriors button mashing real time combat with Persona's turn-based battles.
That
so
sounds very appealing.
Takes place 6 months after Persona 5.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So
a Dynasty Warriors type of thing with a Persona 5's turn-based.
So it's Persona Warriors.
Kind of like that, kind of like one of those Muso games, but I don't think it's going to be as repetitive as some.
It sounds more like to me like almost like the Yakuza Like a Dragon, where it's more of like a like more fast-paced, action-based, still kind of has that JRPG's turn-based stylish kind of thing going on.
I think the biggest announcement in regards to that trailer reveal was for the Steam version of Persona 5 Scramble, That in and of itself, Persona 5 has not been released on Steam. Persona 4 has. That's the first one that Atlas decided to drop on earlier on this year. It had its technical difficulties. The whole Denuvo shit did not help things. But it makes this more exciting that Atlas is going through and porting more of, not just porting like the Persona games in general, but like expanding certain things, because this is going to be the first Persona game technically on the Switch as well.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see how this game runs on the Switch. But what's kind of interesting is like you have the PS4, the Nintendo Switch, and Steam, but there's no type of mentions for say PS5, Xbox Series X, or even the Xbox console in general.
Yeah, I imagine it'll just you can play it on PS5 obviously, but it'll be maybe down the line they might do an update. But I mean, we're at that weird point where about this time last generation, there's a lot of games that came out beginning of the next 2014 that weren't cross-gen or didn't have, like South Park Stick of Truth it was a 360 PS3 game and it came out 5 months after the PS4 and Xbox One. So
what's very interesting to know is Atlas is getting more open to porting a lot of not only their older games, but like certain new games from the Persona series on to other consoles besides the PlayStation. I mean, that's fantastic in my honest opinion.
Yeah, but we've seen Persona games on Nintendo before, so it's not too surprising.
That's true in that regard. Say like Persona Q and like some of that.
Yeah, they just don't put the mainline ones on there.
Right. Oh boy, yeah. But I'm kind of waiting, just looking forward to when February comes around, just trying that game out.
Yeah. So I want to look a little more into that. I still, part of me wants to at least check out Persona 5. But moving on here to some Bioware news. It's pretty big news here. Came out Thursday afternoon. Casey Hudson and Mark Dara, I'm probably mispronouncing that, both announced their retirement on Thursday evening. Casey Hudson, who was kind of the face of the company through the Mass Effect trilogy and the first Dragon Age game, he left, I think it was in 2013 or 2014, and went to I think it was Microsoft for about 3 years or so, and then came back in 2017 and was kind of like, and this is, I think it was like maybe late 2017 he came back, and after the whole Andromeda debacle, and then it was like that, it kind of came in like he's gonna save Anthem, and obviously Anthem was there was no saving Anthem at that point.
Anthem had its own problems.
Yeah, Anthem has a lot of problems. So just wasn't able to turn that around. But anyways, he's leaving after nearly 20 years with the studio. If you kind of both of 10 years, he's like he mentions he don't know what he's going to do next, but he just this year showed him that kind of like there's different ways to work and all that, and just I mean it's been a weird year for everybody, so he doesn't know what he's gonna do next, but basically wants to change. God knows what that means. And then Mark Dara, who is the executive producer on Dragon Age 4, he is also leaving the studio to retire. And he's been kind of like the main guy there. He was his big thing was like he worked on like Star Wars: The Republic, the PC game, what was it called? Like the World of Warcraft's monthly subscription
Old
games.
Republic.
Yeah, what are those games called though? MMORPGs. Yeah, MMO. Thank you. He was kind of the person that worked on that, and I guess he works. What studio is that one? It's Bioware Austin, I want to say is that one, and like the main ones in Ontario where Casey's from, and I guess the team in Austin's very talented. But it's very interesting timing with because like that studio that was working on Old Republic is also, they're kind of the ones trying to do reboot Anthem in a way, and also working on Dragon Age, which the rumors came out, or it kind of came out a year and a half ago that Dragon Age 4, like a year plus into development, they basically scrapped everything and just started the whole project over. Obviously, and then Casey coming in there towards the end of I think the last 8-9 months of development for Anthem. That game just came out and is what it is. They're all working on the Mass Effect Legendary Edition right now, and the rumor was that they're struggling. It's taking them longer to get that done, especially their main issue was just with Mass Effect 1, getting that one a little more up to date, and then they're after that it's full bore on to Mass Effect 4, whatever the hell it's going to be called. But no, it's just interesting timing with like it's hard not to think that this is bad. This doesn't seem good that Casey is leaving, and then Mark, who seems like he has done a good job up till this point, is leaving. But I don't know, it's been maybe the biggest thing for studios this generation is just kind of like the fall from grace of BioWare. He went from, they had KOTOR and killed it with that. The Mass Effect 1 and 2 and Dragon Age, just they were on top of the gaming world, and then it's like Mass Effect 3 with the ending and all that. And then Dragon Age Inquisition reviews were all the massive, people had a game of the year, so people just didn't really care for it. Then obviously Andromeda and Anthem are what they are, and it's just to see where they are now, it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to feel. Like on one hand, maybe it's for the best, maybe that they're like all right, we're not, it's time, it's time for us to move on. There's it's kind of, maybe it's like a changing of the guard thing. Like you hear about like like studios like Nintendo, where it's like Miyamoto and the big guys, or like the top guys have been there for a while. They're still there, but they have, like, especially like Breath of the Wild, you hear like you know, they maybe I'm part of maybe this is me just like hoping for the best kind of thing, where it's like you hear about like they let the young guys kind of take over, and it seems like it went for the better, and maybe that's what this is for this, and maybe that's me trying to do some wishful thinking in it, but I don't know, Gables. What's your thoughts when you heard this news?
Well, the moment I heard about this news, I thought of the fact that you had two main people in regards to key management leaving at the same time, quintessentially. That in of itself kind of drew plenty of red flags because there may have been a bunch. I'm just speculating and just trying to think about it at this point. It suggests to me that there are probably a bunch of different elements in terms of what Electronic Arts wants the Dragon Age, the next Dragon Age game, or even the Mass Effect like anniversary things, probably caused a lot of stress for them to go forth and maybe go forward with, okay, let's go to do something different. I mean, I'm going to have that thought in the back of my head regardless because of how poorly Andromeda was and how poorly Anthem was in terms of being a colossal failure from launch. So with that in mind, it's like I am very concerned about what the next Dragon Age is going to go forth and have, because if that thing is not if that's not like a hit out of the park for BioWare in that regards, I really do not see them like having a lot more time to go through and dig themselves out of stuff that they've done previously, you know? Where it's like, it feels like a subtle decline of BioWare's quality from the release of Mass Effect 3 all the way up to now in 2020, near 2021. There have been some games that were okay that they released, but a lot of the games that they've released this generation, like you touched upon before, have been either hugely disappointing or just kind of like a dumpster fire in and of itself. So Mass Effect Andromeda had a lot of bugs, was supposed to take place after Mass Effect 3, and obviously that one was very disappointing because of the lack of quality it felt like when the game properly launched. Anthem, we all know the story about this. Huge dumpster fire. They're still trying to rebuild it, which at this point I'm like, dude, you've spent so much time and resources and stuff. Just cut that game out. You know, just cut it at this point.
Well,
they should have done that to begin with towards that first year. You know?
Yeah, it's like especially at the beginning of the year when they announced like they're doing like all this work to fix it, and it's like we haven't heard anything since. And you know, we're going. I mean, other than like I think there was an update like 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, we're still working on it, but then like it came out that it's like it's only like 10, 15 people working on it. So it's like obviously they're not like we're gonna put all this work into fixing it. It's like maybe they have the 10, 15 best people in the studio working on it, or maybe they're just fixing it to say they fix it. I don't, God knows what. But so I think at this point it's just we're going into
dead.
that game. The game came out in February 2019. It is December 2020. We are nearly 2 years into the game being out. It's I mean, maybe they could turn around. Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky.
Thing is,
they turn around, but
Anthem is not like say a No Man's Sky situation, you know, to where that developer went forth. Hello Games went through and worked out that game to the extent where now it feels like a representation of what they had originally envisioned.
Yeah.
In terms of what we have with Anthem, it's the exact opposite, to where you have Electronic Arts that's stingy as it is, only they put and advertised this game to the moon, and they had BioWare go through and just a bunch of developers go through and try to make this ambitious like Destiny like game, right? And it's like everything was not hitting upon all circles, you know. The game was buggy at launch. There's a lot of mismanagement stuff, and they only have like 10 to 15 people really that's working on it. So it's yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's best at this point cut it off to me. If they turn around and like it is great, how many people actually want to go back to it? I mean, I think like you said, like No Man's Sky also had like a really good like what was there was promising, and what's here for what was there with Anthem, what currently is there right now with Anthem, it's I mean, when I played the game, I only put a few hours into it, but I was just like, this is not fun. It doesn't make being Iron Man flying around is cool, but the mission concepts, it's just a generic any other live game
out there. It's just another one of those, just not as fun, not as I don't think, but doesn't have like like I always talk about, like Destiny inherently is a fun game to play. The shooting is good. The worlds are interesting, and I feel like the mission concepts are pretty good. But it's just like you need to build upon that, and they were able to turn around Destiny. I feel like pretty good there, especially with Taken King, and then even better with Destiny 2. Like I love that campaign. I thought it was really great, and people obviously Gables seem to be loving the expansion, what they're doing since then. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like we're at the point now, and I thought it was done with their Anthem. I thought they were done, but I feel like Dragon Age 4 and then possibly the next Mass Effect, if they get there, that's it. That this is their last shot of keeping this around. I mean, it sucks because it feels like you can't have Dragon Age 4 can't come out and be one of those 8 out of 10 games. Like it's a good game, it's a good game. Oh, it's fine, it's good, It has to be, you have and it's like how many people from Bioware that were there when those games when they were hitting on all cylinders, how many people are still there, and not too long after EA bought Bioware, the two doctors that started Bioware, they left. And it's like it seems like they were the heart and soul of that company, because after they left, they left somewhere, I think, in the middle of Mass Effect 3 being worked on. And from that point on, it's just been, I know Dragon Age Inquisition, how people like that one, but I don't know, Dragon Age 2, that game was bad, but that was more of an EA rush job than anything else, much like Andromeda. But I think Andromeda, even still playing it months later after launch, and pretty much most of the bugs were fixed. The game just wasn't good. It wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't good. They just, yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't even an 8 out of 10. It wasn't even. It was. It was fine. It's just nothing was outstanding in that game, and I just feel like that's what they are right now with their next games, where it's like they have to be outstanding. They can't just be average or even good. Like really good is the minimum for these games, and it's unfortunate. But that's also kind of that's it's kind of like that's just the way they built their how great they are with people love KOTOR and the Mass Effect games. It's just like it's like Nintendo can't release a 7 out of 10 game, like a Mario game, a mainline Mario game, or they can, but it's like the bar is so high for them that if they do, a game comes out, it's a 7 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10, it's looked at as a bad game. Look at Skyrim, or not Skyrim, Skyward Sword and Sunshine. It's like they're not bad games, they're bad Mario and Zelda games. So yeah. But moving on to our last topic here, Gables. Metal Gear Solid, the movie, it's been talked about forever and ever and ever. So they finally have cast their lead, and I think it's perfect. Oscar Isaac has been cast as the lead role of Solid Snake for the Metal Gear Solid movie adaptation. No idea when that movie's gonna be filmed or all that, when the movie's even scheduled to be coming out. It's being headed by Jordan Von Roberts, I believe is how I say it. And I know he's actually a huge, I believe, if I remember correctly, is he a yes, he is a huge, and I think Derek Connolly, who wrote the script, they are huge Metal Gear fans. So, which is good, I think. Like, they are known to be big fans of the franchises forever. They have actively gone on podcasts and talked about those, or done interviews and gone into deep dives of loving those games. But yeah, so I don't really know what the background is on what these guys have done beforehand. Though I won't look more into that one. But they are they are friends, Hollywood friends with Hideo Kojima. But Oscar Isaac did an interview, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, and they asked if what's a movie that you want to be in, and Oscar Isaac said that he would love to play Solid Snake in a movie. So that makes me happy. That makes me excited. Oh, it could be a bad thing. I mean, maybe if they try to stick too close to it, I don't know how it's going to work. Maybe if they try too hard to get that Kojima charm in there and make the things that work. But yeah, he is Oscar Isaac, who played Poe in the Star Wars franchise. He is set to be the lead in it, but he is very busy. He has like, I'm look there's in this article from Deadline that's like, he is like filming several movies, or is currently like in post production of several other, like he's in the Dune movie that's coming out next year. He's in the HBO TV show. He's in a Marvel's Disney Plus show. He is filming The Card Counter, another movie. He is also working in The Great Machine. He's also working with Francis and the Godfather with Jake Gyllenhaal. He has like 6 or 7 projects he is currently either in post-production on, pre-production on, or currently in production on. So God knows when this movie comes out, or when they even start filming it, and God knows even if it happens. Yeah, I don't know. It was. I mean, I like Oscar Isaac. He seems like he's actually a guy that has some chops. He definitely has been in some bad movies even recently. Not even talking about Star Wars, just talking about like some of the movies he's in. I mean, it's every actor. Every actor is in a bad movie. But he, like, when you look at him, he looks like he fits the role. Looking at screenshot, people have like done side by sides on Twitter of like him and other scenes from movies with like, you know, him with as what's Naked Snake, or you know, Big Boss, you know, like, or just, you know, even Solid Snake. It's like, God damn, like he can pull it off. Like the look, I don't know how he does the voice, and obviously how the movie pans out, who knows. It seemed like there's some like some little screen like art direction they have for like what they have in mind, and it looks like it's all taking place on Shadow. At least the things we've seen is it's taking place on Shadow Moses, which gets me very erect. But I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts with us possibly finally getting a Metal Gear Solid movie?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm happy for him. He sounds like he's a huge fan of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Plus, it seems like he's more driven to perform well in this role as opposed to, like, say, going on another myriad of ones where it's just kind of like lukewarm in that regards. So his heart's definitely in the right place. He has wanted to go through and do things related to like a Metal Gear Solid movie to begin with. So I'm cautiously optimistic about how he'll be portraying Solid Snake inside this upcoming movie that he's going to be filming.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the best we can be right now, is cautiously optimistic, and you know, hopeful. I mean, but it makes me happy. It's like at least it's not Paul Anderson, I think is his name, and his wife from the Resident Evil movies and the Monster Hunter movie directing it. Then you know automatically it's gonna be bad.
And at least we know it's not like, say, well, what is it? Like it's not like, say, led by the director of Uwe Boll or something like the Blood.
Yeah,
movie,
God,
so.
God no, yeah. I mean, I almost think I'd rather have Uwe Boll than Paul Anderson, and his wife in the movie. God damn, I watched the last trailer for that movie before I went to theaters, and it looks like trash. So I haven't read reviews though. I'm curious, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm hopeful. You know, it's like maybe I've kind of accepted that, you know, Hideo Kojima will never be able to finish his masterpiece. You know, we're just kind of forever gonna be left with never filling in the gap between 5 and Metal Gear, or we're never gonna see anything more past Metal Gear Solid 4 in the timeline, and that's okay, I guess. I mean, it's always gonna it sucks, but you know, whatever. I'll learn, you know, whatever. There's bigger things going on in life than that, but maybe, you know, a remake and a good movie, not fantastic, but just a good action movie. I would be happy with, and yeah, I mean, and maybe Konami not making any more Metal Gear games, because that last one they put out was garbage. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this week, guys. But thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we're on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, everything. We're on all of them. Please check us out on all those places. Subscribe, follow, like, thumbs up, 5-star, comments, shares. Shares is the big one. Tell your friends, tell your family. You're having Christmas dinner. Talk to your family. Be like, hey, you guys listen to the Drunk Dashers podcast? Do that. We really appreciate it. But yeah, anyways, I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, have yourself a fun time. And most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. Few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.